Hello and welcome to the Out of the Office podcast, where we do a deeper dive into the lives of the people we meet on our web series. This episode of Out of the Office may contain some strong language and mature themes that are not suitable for viewers under 18. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Out of the Office episode 4. Now today we're going to be exploring the world of OnlyFans, and I am joined by Solemnverse. So if you'd like to say hello.
Hi.
So give us a little bit of detail about what you do.
Okay, so I'm a freelance model, PR, marketing. I run loads of different bits and bobs in fashion and music, and I've got an OnlyFans.
The first question we have is, why did you decide to make an account?
Because I was broke.
Fair enough.
And yeah, and yeah, I mean, money's probably the biggest indicator as to why I started, but also kind of like the whole kind of female empowerment thing behind it, because I'm not really insecure about people seeing my body or like stuff like that. So it's quite nice being my own boss and being in control of my own finances and work, and what work I take on, what work I don't take on, etc. So yeah.
So the next question we have is, does this career affect your personal life and kind of personal relationships?
I can imagine it could for some people, but not really for me. I'm surrounded by a lot of accepting people. My boyfriend's fine with it. My mum's not fine with it, but she understands I'm an adult, so she's like, you can do your own thing. And I think if you conduct yourself in a way that's safe and respectful, I don't think, I mean, it's no one else's business, is it really?
Yeah.
it's your work, and you don't like people's jobs unless it's something like being a doctor or something. It doesn't really affect your personal lives, so I don't see why it should. It's like, in my head, one of them things, it's really dependent. It shouldn't affect your relationships, and I'm really lucky that it doesn't. I can imagine some people's beliefs and ethics may they might hate what I do, just not say it to my face. So who knows? So
people have opinions, but that's not your business.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about their opinions. I'm happy in myself, happy in my work. So like, obviously if it was something important, then I'd listen, but if it's just their opinion on what my job title is and what I do for a living, then it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough. So essentially that kind of answers our second question as well, but if you'd like to touch on it a little bit more, the question is, do you feel judged for it, and have you ever received hate because of your account?
Yes and yes. So I guess I've been on Instagram for a while and quite prominent on that, so I'm used to people judging me in that respect. So it wasn't really a shift in mindset, it was just a shift in platform. And like the type of content that I've been putting out. And even then, some of my Instagram pictures are a bit raunchy, so I've had all of the like people have a go at me for showing a bit of skin and stuff. So it wasn't really in that respect. It was more kind of, I felt judged no matter what platform and what content you put out. I always feel judged. So it just kind of made OnlyFans a lot easier, because I'm already kind of numb to the trolling sometimes. And then what was the second question?
It was,
the
have
second
you
bit
ever
of the
received
question.
any hate for it?
Oh gosh, yeah. So a lot of my fans are really on OnlyFans are really like respectful. But there was this one person popped up that was like, you best get your tits out. I subscribed, and I don't know if you know how OnlyFans works, but you're supposed to have nudes on here. And I was just a bit like, no, this is I'm in charge here, not you. So I just blocked him, and that's how I deal with a lot of hate. So just block it, put it to out of sight, out of mind.
I think that's kind of the rule of thumb in any social media, is that if anyone speaks out against what you're doing, kind of for no reason other than to drag you down, just block them. You don't need them.
Yeah, 100%. And most of the time, these people aren't even like asked about hearing your opinion. So if it was like a valid argument, I would like talk to him and try and help him understand. But I was just like, nah, I can't be asked. And at expense of my own kind of well-being and my workspace as well. If that was any other workspace that wasn't OnlyFans, that would be bang out of order.
Yeah.
So why is it like no one should expect anything unless it's listed on my account?
Yeah.
So with him saying that, I was like, I don't know where you got that information from, and every single person's OnlyFans different. So I just refunded him, blocked him, and moved on with my life.
Fair enough. Okay, well, our next question is, how did you overcome any anxieties and fears when you first started out?
I think his like the Solemnverse persona, I think I'm quite good at just having my personal life and then my online life, and like Solemnverse is OnlyFans, but then like me Nat isn't. So it's quite easy to be like, if someone's having a go at me or I'm getting anxious about something, I just try and remember like that's a persona. Yeah, it may look like me, but that's just like that's a real creative outlet. It's like when people start doing singing and stuff and they have like a stage persona, it's a similar thing. So it helps me really like step away from the intensity of doing OnlyFans as a job. And I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it under like your proper name or anything, because it having that kind of, what's the word, having that kind of like
Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. It's like I can leave whenever I'm feeling anxious about like what's going on in OnlyFans. I can leave that at work and leave that on Instagram and leave that on like online effectively. Like if I turn my phone off, no one's really talks to me about it, because they know that as Nat, I do like the freelance marketing and stuff as well. So it's like, it's nice having, it is like living a double lifestyle, weirdly.
Well, that's the thing, is that we spoke to someone who does kind of princess parties and stuff in one of our earlier episodes, and I can kind of relate to it in that sense, that when you do have the wigs and the tiaras and the ball gowns on, you feel like a completely different person because you are kind of personifying yourself as a different person.
Yeah, 100%.
So kind of
And there's
things just seem to bounce off when you get comments and stuff, because it's like, it's not you.
Yeah, there's like a weird kind of it's weird because you're just like, oh, it's all right, Solemnverse is getting the abuse, not me. Like that's how I see it. It's like she's getting it, not me. And because it's like, when I've got my full face makeup on and I've got my hair and I can like, I'm really confident I can deal with whatever. But when I'm not, it's just like, take a step away. And I think it's definitely nice having that working in OnlyFans, because it is a really intense environment.
It's almost like a coping mechanism, kind of compartmentalizing your life into, right, they do this, I do this, kind of I can leave it online.
Yeah, it's like I've got undiagnosed borderline personality disorder. So I think because I feel everything really heavily, it does help to separate them so I don't get like run away in my own feelings. And that's why I think like OnlyFans is definitely, I don't think it's like an unhealthy thing to do. I just think you've got to have them coping mechanisms in place to be able to do it, to like handle it. It's the same with anything that's a bit, doesn't follow kind of what society expects of you. It's just one of them things. But you shouldn't have to have them coping mechanisms, because people should just accept what you do for a living as long as it's not hurting anyone. But because the way things are with OnlyFans, you do have to have that in place.
The next question we have is, what kind of goes on behind the scenes that an OnlyFans content creator would know, but maybe a subscriber or kind of someone who doesn't know a lot about OnlyFans wouldn't know? Some insider knowledge.
There's little group chats on WhatsApp and stuff, and all of the shout outs. I think like people just assume that you got to advertise it on your social media, but there's like ways. I know girls that literally just like know other girls that do OnlyFans and join groups and then do a shout out on their account for a shout out. And obviously, because you've got to be paid to see what the other person's posting, it's like, I think a lot of people don't realize that it can be really, really private. It can be really anonymous as well. And I think it's your choice as well, so that's what's nice about it. But I think things behind the scenes, I mean, when people are like charging for content and OnlyFans takes 20%, so like the sub might be thinking I just gave you $8, but you actually only got like $6. So it's like having that understanding that the site takes commission, so we're not getting all of the money. And also like with referrals as well, the idea that if you use a referral link, the person who's earning, they have a percentage of their earnings goes to the link that they used, but people automatically assume that that's an expense of the creator who used the referral link, but it's actually taken from the 20% that OnlyFans takes off them. So it's a really good way to make sure a lot of independent creators are still earning money that would have been going to OnlyFans. So it's just like little things like that that would make more of a community and a support network for a lot of the people that are on the platform. I think that's important to like recognize. So because I feel really bad people using my referral link and they're like, oh, you've like earned 40 quid off this person this month, and I feel awful, but actually in theory that percentage that I earn would have been going to OnlyFans anyway.
Yeah, like would have reached them regardless.
Yeah, so if anything, if you start an account, use another girl's referral link, because that drastically helps them, and it's at no expense to you whatsoever. Because your bank balance would stay the same, because OnlyFans will take it either way. So just make sure it's going to someone else who's more small business, independent, that kind of thing.
No worries. So we are now moving on to our user questions. So we've had some questions that fans of the show have sent in. So this is from Sophie, and she asks, is it difficult to tell new people that you meet that you work on OnlyFans?
I think it depends on you as a person. I'm a very extrovert, like I'm really out there, and that's like my whole kind of brand. It's just being this really open and honest person. Like you could ask me anything and I'd be like, there you go. But I think if you're not like that, it could be hard. Like if you've got certain traumas, or you're not, it's definitely something you've got to 100% be sure you want to do, because as soon as you're like, okay, I definitely want to do this, you're not ashamed when you start talking to people.
So as soon as the floodgates are open.
Yeah, so it's like, if you're doubting it, don't do it. But if you're like, nah, I want to do this, I'm pretty sound doing it, then you'll realise that like if you've got good people in your life, then they won't care anyway. I mean, first night I met my boyfriend, oh, sorry, I'm allowed to swear?
It's fine, go for it.
Right, so first night I met my boyfriend, I was outside a kebab shop. We've been together a while now, and I literally, first thing I said to him was, I got an OnlyFans. Because I was like, there's no point even entertaining this. If you don't respect that I've made that decision for myself, then you don't respect me as a person.
It's kind of like an upfront disclaimer, really.
Yeah, it was like, by the way, this is, and he was like, yeah, it's sound. If I had it, I'd do it as well. Like if I had the abilities. So it was like, I think it's one of them things that you just get out there and you're not ashamed of, and it's definitely not hard to tell people. But then if you're in a bad environment and around people who might find it uncomfortable, then it is. I think it totally depends on each person in the situation.
No worries.
Because I go home and I find it really hard to tell new people, like my mum and my dad. But when I'm like in Newcastle, it's sound because it's chill.
Well, there's some things you don't talk to mum and dad about.
Yeah. Like, but saying that, like, mum's like, bloody hell, you're making a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah. So for a 21-year-old, I'm kind of, she's very understanding. She don't like it. She don't want me to do it. But she's also respectful that I do make my own decisions, which I really appreciate.
I mean, financially stable at 21 is incredible. Like, claps to you. So
I'm fully leaving uni and buying a flat, and who would have thought? And I've only been doing it since September.
See, I can see all the crew now. They're sat there like, interesting.
Like, genuinely, one of them things where when you actually see the positives of it and the impact it has on your life, even if people did judge me, I wouldn't care, because I'm there like getting a rabbit in a flat, living my best life, and it's like
yeah, it's kind of like I can't
like
hear you from down the hall, like nope.
It's literally like, if you don't like it, I just automatically assume it's jealousy. Like, I'm just like, you're just jealous I'm making money. And it's easy as well. Like, that's the thing. It's the reason it's taken off so much is just because it's easy and accessible, and why not? Like, it's not illegal. I don't personally think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's very on brand with the full female empowerment movement and accepting your body and not being ashamed, and also being your own boss and being that kind of woman in control of her own life. And I think it's toxic in a way that girls shouldn't feel pressured to be on OnlyFans, because but then equally I do it for that kind of reason, but that's because I feel comfortable doing it. I would never I don't think it's a good idea to be pressured into it thinking, oh, all of the feminists have got OnlyFans, I need one. It's more kind of like, no, just supporters, that's fine. Like, you don't have to get one yourself if you don't want to.
And then we have another user question, and this is from Demi, and she asks, how do you remain relevant and make people come back for your content?
The thing is, I don't, honestly. I'm in a very privileged position to have a decent Instagram that just gets like new subs. I even like for new subs, I'll recycle old content, so I'm only really working about 2 hours a week. But it's like, once you kind of get the hacks, it's easy. But I think I definitely I like to get different backgrounds, and that's just for like any form of social media. I like to shake the outfits and the backgrounds up, and obviously not have the same kind of mundane looking thing every time. But equally as well, it's like, I think I like getting weird stuff, like that probably sounds so much worse than I actually mean. I mean, like my lights in upstairs, not upstairs, sorry, the light that's actually on my ceiling, because I do a lot of creative work. I've got a studio and stuff, because I do that as a living with journalism and marketing and all of that. It's quite nice to have them on hand, so I might do some funky green screen stuff at some point, just for the fun of it. I think instead of trying to worry about impressing everyone else with your content, just do the content you want and you feel comfortable with, and then it totally takes the pressure away from feeling like you have to do certain things for certain people, and it kind of removes the independence of it. If you've got ideas to stay fresh, just stay true to what you're thinking, because if people are subbing to you, you've done something right, so just crack on doing that.
Fair enough. We've actually got one more user question here. This is from Izzy, and she asks, what is the strangest request you've ever had?
Before I started OnlyFans, I actually made like 80 quid on Instagram from selling foot pictures. No nudity at all, genuinely, just a video of me wiggling my toes. I don't know why, but yeah, he still comes back like every few months and puts like £30, £40 in for a foot pic. Like,
it's regular.
Yeah, it's really straight. Like, you'll find a lot of my weirdest requests aren't even like what you'd typically see OnlyFans as. Like, they're not sex related. A lot of my weirdest requests are the most unexpected things you could even imagine. It's like, oh, can you send me a picture of you wearing like trainers with short trainer socks? And I'm like, but they must find ankles attractive or something. I don't know, but like, yeah, there's the weirdest stuff.
What you're into.
Yeah, like the weirdest stuff isn't even nudity. It's just like, show me your ankles or your feet or whatever. It's really strange.
See, people can make a living on OnlyFans, literally not showing anything. I love that.
Yeah, I've done that myself. Like, just didn't post anything explicit. But again, it's like, yeah, you're in control of it, really, and it's just making sure that you have boundaries for yourself. So I didn't do the more explicit stuff, and even then, I still don't do hella explicit. Like I'm not into that. I'm more kind of light-hearted stuff on my OnlyFans. But you always got to remember and stick to your boundaries, because it's not about anyone else. It's about how comfortable you feel. So if you ever get any weird requests, if you're comfortable doing it, then why not? But if you're not, then like, it's definitely never feel pressured to.
So at Out of the Office Productions, we normally are really cheeky at the end of an episode and ask our interviewees, would you hire me? But obviously this kind of doesn't apply to your situation. So I think the question that I'm trying to ask here is, will you subscribe to my OnlyFans?
Well, I'm an advocate for women, and I support other independent women doing their own thing. So yeah, and I'll give you a shout out if you give me a shout out.
Lovely. And you know what? After this conversation, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Sorry, my mum as well.
It's seriously insane, and the worst thing is people still think there's a stigma around it, but I know more people who do OnlyFans than don't. So it's like, well, if anyone's got a problem with it, I'll just hang out with all my friends who do it, and we won't judge each other, so that's fine.
No worries. Well, I feel like I've genuinely learned so much about OnlyFans content creation, and I would say even female empowerment in general. So thank you so much for chatting with us. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I've learned something as well, because half the time you say something and you don't really like think it until you say it out loud, and I'm like, oh, I'm learning a lot about myself as well.
Well, there we go. Women supporting women. We love to see it. Well, it was lovely chatting to you and lovely meeting you as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I really enjoyed it, and it was lovely to meet you as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was today's episode of the Out of the Office podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you'd like to, we would really appreciate a like and a comment down below. And while you're down there, the subscribe button is like really close by, so you may as well click that as well. A big thank you to all of the interviewees for getting involved. It really does help to make this show happen. Now, if you would like to submit yourself for a future episode, or even just submit a question for one of our future episodes, you can do so by commenting on any of our social media posts or submitting yourself via the website. Okay, bye!